Hi, okay, so we're back looking at our text again, and we're going to do just a little bit more with keyframes. In fact, there's a lot more you can generally do with them. Okay, but what we're going to look at particularly right now is just sort of easing and time reverse, which is some additional properties that are available with them. So for starters, what I've done is with my text here, it starts on the right hand side and it just sort of moves over to the left. So that's it. It's actually starting in frame to ending in frame. Okay, and there's just two keyframes that are controlling that. Say if you do create an animation and then you find firstly that actually you're like it would work better the other way around, or sometimes you want to yeah, sort of just change the start and end points. An easy way to do that obviously is to just move those keyframes along, but what you can actually do is just highlight the keyframes. Once you've done that, just right click and go to keyframe assistant. This is what we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to be looking at easing next. And we just time reverse keyframes. And you see the keyframes don't actually move. They're still there, 2 to 3 seconds, nothing changed. However, it's moved them around, so now we start one end and go to the other. So time reverse just switches all the keyframes around, and that can be quite a helpful little tool sometimes. The other thing we can look at is easing now, and what you find is, in fact, to demonstrate this, I'm going to duplicate this layer. So I'm just going to double that up so we can actually see it, so we can test against the original shortly. But what you'll find is you know, generally in life, things don't sort of just move the way a computer sort of chooses to move them. So there we go. So I'm actually just doubling that up so we can see it. So what a computer does is it really moves things in a very strict way. It sort of, you know, with this case here, we've got the text on the left and it's going to go to the right, and all the computer's going to do is divide the time up equally amongst the frames that it's got available. So it ends up creating quite a harsh movement, I would say. Something, you know, the text will just constantly move at one specific speed and then stop. What easing allows us to do is actually sort of build in a bit more natural movement, which is things generally sort of build up momentum and then they slow down to a stop. They don't just sort of abruptly stop or abruptly start. So if this was a car, if you think about it like that, it wouldn't have a 0 to 60 speed as such. It would probably just go from 0 to 60, and it would just stay at 60, and then it would just go 0 again and stop. There's no acceleration or deceleration at all. But like I said, real life isn't like that, and we like to see those kind of things reflected in our animations as well, where we have acceleration and deceleration. So that's why we use easing. In order to build in easing, all we have to do is right click a keyframe and go back to our keyframe assistant, which we just had a look at before when we did the time reverse. Notice it's grayed out. The reason time reverse is grayed out now is because I only selected one keyframe. You can't time reverse just one keyframe, because remember, one keyframe doesn't hold enough information to create any animation. It has to be more than one. So if you highlighted 2 keyframes, you could do time reverse. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ease out. Okay, and when it comes to coming to a stop, you always ease in. Okay, so we'll go keyframing system, we'll ease in there. Okay, and the way I always remember it is they kind of look like brackets. Okay, so remember, you always ease out at the beginning and ease into a stop at the end. You might have seen as well, if you just right click that, we've also got a final one which was easy ease, and you would use that if say I had a third keyframe in the middle perhaps, or technically I guess it would be the second, so I had 1, 2 in the middle and then this third one on the end. The one in the middle, in a sense, would have to allow the previous motion to decelerate into it and then accelerate out of it. So easy ease kind of works both ways. But what you'll find now is if we play both of those together, I'm going to RAM preview this instead. Okay, so just let that load in. What you'll find is the text at the bottom should be building up speed, so it starts off slower, but then it gets to the end faster, because then it sort of has to speed up because it's going to need to slow down again at the end. So in other words, they both start and finish at the exact same point in time. That doesn't change, but you can see quite clearly the one at the bottom is building up speed, so it gets faster afterwards and then it's slowing down again. So in fact, if we just look at that on a frame by frame basis, you'll see the one on the top just starts moving at a constant speed, whereas the one at the bottom is still trying to build up some speed. And then because it's built up to speed, it's surpassing it, but it has to then start to slow down again. So the one at the top kind of hits about the same time, but you'll notice they both end up at the same point at the same time. So I'd say what easing really does is, like I said, it allows you to create a more natural movement, and I would encourage you to include that into your animations, but you have to decide whether it's appropriate or not.